Alright, welcome back to the channel everyone. In this video, we're going to be going over the $1,000,000 setup. Now this setup right here, if you learn it, you take me seriously and you master this, you're going to make millions. Why? Because I've seen it happen before and I'm on the journey to do the same thing myself, so let's get right into it. First off, I want y'all to imagine we're going to play a game real quick. Now let's say we're going to flip this coin and every time it lands on heads, you're going to receive $2. But every time it lands on tails, you're going to lose $1. How many times would you flip this coin? Well, if you understand anything about math, you would flip this as many times as you possibly could, right? Well, that is pretty much what we're trying to do with trading. But instead of it being a coin, we need to find a perfect setup that allows us to get a huge win or a small loss. See, by doing this, we can be wildly profitable with only getting 30 to 50% of our trades correct. So just like the coin game, you'd want to flip the coin per se as many times as you possibly could. Now here's where the setups come into play, because we have to be able to find these in order to flip the coin per se, to get a nice chance on a huge reward with low risk. So in this video, we're going to be showing exactly how to find and use this setup. And also, I learned this setup from Qullamaggie. I'm still learning it, but he used this setup to turn $5,000 into $100 million plus, which is insane. And we can do the exact same thing, but it's going to take some hard work and training. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the steps to this setup are as follows. First, you need a 30 to 100% plus move higher within 3 months or so. So basically, the stock makes a huge move in a relatively short time frame. Now, usually the higher the move, the better. This will allow you to get much more returns usually. Second, we need a pullback or a consolidation for usually over a week. So usually around 2 weeks is where you'll usually find. And then we need it to be making higher lows and a tightening range. We want it to surf the 10, 20, or 50 simple moving average. If you don't know what that is, I'll show you in just a second. Then the third step is it breaks out of that range, preferably on some high volume. So let's look at an example right here. So first we have step one. We have the huge move of up 800% from $2 up to $25. This is overstock in 2020, by the way. You can go look at the chart yourself. Second, we have a nice little pullback consolidation right here that lasts around 2 weeks or so. And during that time, it is making higher lows surfing that 10-day. Of course, we get a couple undercuts here, but it reclaims it after 2 days and then starts putting in a very tight range right here. So after we have that range defined, we want it to break out of that range on volume. So I'm going to show you exactly what happened in this trade. Let me get rid of the drawings here. All right, so there we go. That is what happened. So that is what we were looking at earlier. What we were just looking at right here was the setup. It broke out right here, and then it managed to go up another 360% before closing underneath the 10-day. This is insane. This is what's going to take your account to extreme levels, and this is how Qullamaggie grew his account up to 100 million. So we really need to study and really understand these steps right here and what they look like and the different variables between all of these steps. All right, so now we're going to go over how to trade it, and then we're going to look at an example or two. So first off, finding these setups. This is what you're going to do after market close. So you're going to want to scan for the top 2% of stocks that are up the most over 1, 3, and 6 month time frames. Second, now that you've found these, you want to set alerts and know how much you're going to buy during pre-market. So you're already going to have that range defined. You're going to set alerts for when stocks are breaking out of the range, and you want to go ahead and know what your position size is going to be if you buy a stock. Next, so actually buying the stock, we want to buy on the 1, 5, or 60-minute opening range highs. So let me show you guys exactly what that is real quick. So here's an example of a stock I bought last week. As you can see from the first 5-minute candle, it puts in a high right here above the breakout I had defined pre-market. Then we can see that it breaks that opening range high about 10 minutes later, and that is where you want to enter the stock. And like I said, you can do this on the 1, 5, or 60-minute opening range highs. Now, selling the stock. First, you're going to set your stop loss on the low of the day that you bought. So if it was this stock, you can see the yellow line where my stop loss would be set. Next, you want to sell a half after 3 to 5 days and then move your stop up to your entry. So you want to sell around a half or a third anytime between 3 to 5 days, depending on market conditions or how strong the move is, and then move your stop up to your entry point. Next, you're going to sell the other half or the rest of whatever you're holding once the stock closes below the 10-day moving average. And I'll show you guys an example of this setup right now. All right, so here we have NVAX 2020. As you can see, the stock makes a huge 800% move right here. Next, we get this couple weeks of consolidating and pulling back, and it starts to make higher lows. Now, it's not necessarily surfing one of the moving averages, but it's just below it, and it's making higher lows, as you can see, and putting in a very tight range right here. Guys, if a stock makes an 800% move and it only pulls back this much, you know it's ready to make a bigger move, so you have to be looking for these kind of setups. Next, as we can see, it clearly breaks out of that range, and there's no volume here, but it was on some higher volume, so this is a clean breakout. Now let's see what happened after the breakout. And you would want to enter right here, be ready on that day to enter the opening range high. Boom, look at that, up 213% before it closed below the 10-day. So like I said, you'd want to enter right here. You'd probably have a less than 5% stop, and you would be able to catch a 213% move with half your position. Guys, these are the kind of trades that's going to explode your account. As you can see, you would have sold around half your position right here for a nice up 30-40% gain, move your stop to break even, and then you would not have got stopped out of the stock until $150. Guys, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to really memorize and internalize these setups, but if you do it, it is going to be so worth it, because right here, you would have had a less than 5% risk and you would have got 213% on half your position. This is insane. This is how you make millions, and I plan on doing it myself, but it takes time, so I hope you guys will stick around with me and let's learn this setup together. I'm going to be putting out another video for beginners going over a couple of these examples, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that, and let's all get better together. Let's master this thing. I'll see y'all next time.